trailblazer, lifelong public servant, mentor, fearless. Those are just some of the words being used to describe New Jersey's Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver, who passed away just yesterday at the age of 71.
Yeah, Governor Phil Murphy is making his way back to New Jersey after learning of Oliver's death while on a family vacation in Italy. The Lieutenant Governor had just celebrated her birthday 3 weeks ago. And joining us this morning is Leroy Jones Jr. He's chairman of New Jersey's Democratic Committee and a longtime friend of Oliver's. Good morning, sir. We know this is a difficult time for you as we all are coming to grips with this in New Jersey. I live in New Jersey. We appreciate you being with us this morning. And, of course, heartfelt condolences on the loss. You and the Lieutenant Governor have known each other for more than 30 years. I mean, when did you first start working together?
We started working together back, in the early '90s. When she was a division director, at Essex County government, and that started a long relationship, that continues in spirit, for me beyond today and yesterday.
And she'd been battling some health issues for quite a while, but did it ever slow her down, or did she ever complain about her conditions?
No, she never complained, never slowed her down. It was something that she dealt with, privately a lot, but, it never slowed her down. And that's the tenacious person that she was. She, put her own issues aside, for the greater good. And the greater good was the public service that she had committed her life to.
Yeah, on a personal note, the last time I had seen Ms. Oliver was at my wife's uncle, Elton Hill's funeral back in 2020. And I'll tell you, she walked into that church and the room just lit up. People loved her. From the very beginning of her career, she was also known to be an advocate for anything in the public, known for fighting for underserved communities. Where did that passion come from, do you think?
Sheila was a social worker by training. And, when you're a social worker, you're a person that cares about people. And that was, her passion, people. She loved people. People loved her. She probably was the only politician where I don't think, she had any opposing figures, that would typically come up in, a political arena. I was the person that I think caught the brunt of, anything that couldn't be leveled at Sheila.
And let's speak to some of her political past. She served for more than 15 years in the New Jersey State Legislature, where then she earned a reputation for being tough but fair, and it also led to her being the first Black woman elected to Speaker. So can you speak to a little bit of her political achievements?
So that wasn't, something that she acquired when she entered the legislature. Her fairness, her equitable way of dealing with people was something that, was something that comes quite natural. She was born with that. She, as I said, she loved people. She loved life. She loved helping those that were underserved. She was, robust, with that, that dying passion to make life better for those that, had the challenges before them. Even, in her, worst moments, she would still, yearn to make life better for other people, even, when her life was, replete with challenges.
Now, she was being talked about as a possible successor to Governor Phil Murphy. Any idea if she was actually preparing for that?
I think, Sheila was, dealing with, her own personal situation, and the politics, was something that, was put on the back burner. It was about taking care of yourself and preparing your family.
Sir, were you surprised by her passing? And what would you like your friend to be remembered for?
Look, when a loved one passes away, it's always a surprise. Even when you have felt that you've got the greatest preparation for that. She will be missed. Sheila was, as I said on so many occasions over the last day or so, she was the best of the human spirit. She loved people. People loved her. She was an exceptional public servant. With a lifelong commitment to, just sharing that passion with people. There's, thousands of people out there, literally thousands of people that don't really understand that their life is better because Sheila Oliver came through, this life. And I, for one, will miss her. And that void, in my mind, will never be filled. There's people like Sheila only come once in a lifetime. And when we see, and get to know and experience that person, we have to savor those moments. She has a legacy that will live on in New Jersey, and the spirit of her service lives on in so many of us. So we have that responsibility to her to make sure that we continue to service those that are underserved, those that don't have a voice for themselves. And when we do that, then we will serve the purpose of Sheila Oliver's living, and the spirit that she leaves us with.
Well said, sir. Leroy Jones Jr., thank you so much for helping us remember the life and legacy of Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver. And again, our deepest condolences.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me this morning.